let's just try that one more time. So make sure I've got that bit going up the way. Do I really want to do another one there? Kind of part of me does and part of me doesn't. Let's do another one down here. Or I could do another one up that way. Oh, that'd be an idea, wouldn't it? Let's do one up that way. What do I want to do? Let's do it this way. Let's do this one up that way. When you're using an embossing folder, if it's a small one like this, or if you're only doing a small area, then you don't need to run it through your what do you call it? Die cutting machine. You can just press it, as long as you've still got the strength to press. And so for the embossing part of the E for hashtag ABCJLC, from the lovely Jodi at Jodi Lewis Creations, prompt E today is done. Well, the embossing bit's done, but I'm going to do some more embossing because I can. The other thing I want to do is I want to just put some colour over here. I just want to lightly brush. There we go. So that's that bit done. Now I want to use something that's a bit juicier for this next bit, which is still embossing, but it's embossing in a very different way. I need to be all prepared for this, and I think we're going to go broken china and uncharted mariner maybe. Well, maybe I'll only go broken china. Let's see. Let's see. So 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 8. Then in that on top of it, let's just take the bottom half so we don't end up with a big bit. And then we're going to go like that. So that's 3 times I've stamped. 4 times I've stamped, 5 times I've stamped, 6, you see where I'm going? 7, 8 stamps of an 8, and I end up with a flower. Am I going broken? I'm going to go uncharted mariner, I think. Just to go a darker one. Oh, I'm hoping that's stuck to that. Well, it has stuck in places. But you know what? I don't mind if it's not a total. Oh, I don't think that's stuck really at all. It's stuck in the centre. Tim Holtz recently did a video on embossing glazes. I love embossing glazes, hardly ever use the powders any longer because I love the glazes so much. And he said that you could emboss with them with the archival ink. I've never had any success in embossing with archival ink, or indeed just any ink that isn't an embossing ink, because they just don't seem to stay wet for long enough to grab enough even when you see, all I've got is I've got a little bit, not much at all. And the trouble is, the more you heat it, the more it just kind of then sinks into the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that away. Well, put the lid on it. Need to clean that off, because that's now going to be stained, because stays on stains. It should be stain on, because it's on and it's never coming back again. Let's put this back in here just now. As you see, I expected as much. I've already got my pen out because I expected as much. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to there we go. So we've got heat embossed, and we've turned that 8 stamp into a flower, which I'm really liking. And the other thing I'm really liking is the way that we've got some of this kind of, this is distress, that glaze kind of, I like that, and I'm thinking I might just splatter some more on over there. So let's just get some of this. I'll just pinch a bit of this out and just put it over here. And just heat that on as well. Heat it from underneath so it doesn't blow everywhere. And I just want to keep on melting it so that it sinks into the card, so it's not raised too much. That give a nice effect? Well, I think it does. So we have embossed, and we have heat embossed, but we haven't embroidery flossed. Did you realise all that rhymed? So I'm just going to go and get my embroidery floss. I've just seen a comment Jodi Lewis has left on my last video about lost shadow, and I suddenly thought that's what I need to do. So I'm going to do that. I was humming and hawing about whether or not, we'll get to the embroidery floss in a minute. I was going over the embroidery floss and instead I stopped to read the comment, and I'll go and get the embroidery floss after doing. I was humming and hawing about whether to put another 8 here, so that it was clearer that this was an 8. Don't think it makes it any clearer that this is an 8 at all. However, I do think if I put another 8 here in lost shadow, because she was saying, oh, I like that lost shadow, and I replied, well, yes, I like the fact that lost shadow gives us that idea of a shadow. And I think that's all I want. I just want the idea of a shadow rather than a stamp. See, just like that. And normally we'd say, oh, it's not dark enough, but that's exactly what I want. I just want the idea that there's the 8. The 8 is there. This is all the 8. There's just an echo of that being there. Perfect. And I can see, I don't even know if you can see it. I'm going to have to stand up and see if you can even see it. I don't think you can up there, can you? If I bring it closer, can you see how we've just got it there? And that's just a reminder that this is all made up of 8s. Right, I'm going to go and get the embroidery. Actually, I'm not. I've just seen what the time is. I'm going to go and have my lunch, even though it is 2:10. And then I'll be back with the embroidery floss. I'm recording this bit first, but it's not the first bit of the video. You've seen what I've been doing with 8s. Oh, look, it's there, ready for me to do it with 8. But the bonus was prompt, and we have emboss. And you've seen that I did heat embossing with the 8s. This is the other kind of embossing. And what I do with this fabulous file folder from Tim Holtz and Sizzix, it doesn't actually have a number on it. I thought it would have a number on it, and it doesn't. And I haven't kept the packaging. But you'll be able to find it. Grungy type or something, I think it might be called. Anyway, this is another way to use file folders, because this is where I've got these letters from, made out of air-dried clay. And they're fabulous for little embellishments. But what I have is I have a capital E, a capital G and a small g. And I've been humming and hawing about whether I want to do a capital G and a small g, or whether I want to print again and get a small g or a capital G and have the two G's in both capitals or both small case letters. And I can't make up my mind. I quite like the fact that they're all different. Well, they're not all different clearly, because there's only, but I quite like the fact there's two, but then maybe I won't. So I thought what I'd do is I'd show you how I make these anyway, and then you can, if I decide I don't want them, then I've got them for something else as well. So this is terracotta air dry clay. You can get plain air dry clay and you can get terracotta air dry clay. And I just use a fish knife to cut off a bit. And if you keep it in an airtight box, it will keep relatively well. And where's the G? You want to work it a little bit before you stains your fingers beautifully, but it does wash right off. If you wash it right way, wash it off. There's the G's. And what you do is you just push it in. Oops. Push it into the letters. Just like that. And then we just it's a bit grungy, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be neat. Now what I tend to do is I just cut those lines in between, because it's easier. They will break, but I just think it's easier cutting those lines in between and letting them dry. And I've got some good impressions and I've got some not so good impressions, but do you know what? I don't think that matters. Right, so I've got some yellow thread, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to embroider the centre into this bee flower with the yellow thread. So I made a hole from the front, so I knew I had a hole in near enough the centre. And I'm just going to go round and go in and out. I'll stick that down when I've finished. I don't want to stick it down. What I'm doing is I'm going to each of those points where each point where there's the 8 of the petal bit of the 8 petal bit reaches the centre. Oh, I've put that one back through the wrong hole. That was a bit of a mistake. Each point where the 8 reaches, that's the centre section, so I should have 16 when I've finished, because each one has 2, so that's 3. There. Now I could just leave that like that, which I'm tempted to do actually. I think that that's enough. No, in fact I've decided it's not enough. I'm going to go round and just do a join up all the way around here. So there we go. Let's take that back through underneath there and just bring it through the back. I just want to make sure that the ends don't start coming loose and it starts being a bit of a problem. There we go. So we've got our embroidery floss. We've got our 8. Let's put a shadow 8 in there. We've got our embossing with a folder, and we've got our heat embossing. So we've got everything apart from the bonus. These are the bits that I was just making, and I doubt they're dry yet. Oh, they're not bad, they're nearly there. But I need to decide now what I'm going to do, because part of me says I'm going to do the egg, which I think I showed you, and I just couldn't decide what the G's would be. And here's another wee G. But part of me says that's very big and heavy now compared to this. So part of me is actually saying what I might do is I might just put the E, because it's the E card, and then just shadow stamp in 2 G's for egg. So we've got the shadow 8 and we have shadow 2 G's for the egg. You can, once this is dried, you can sand it. Oh yes, I think I prefer it like that. Right, let's go with that on. And I'm just going to drop this on here, I think. Does look quite purpley, doesn't it? Here, and I also want some more stuff down the side here. There we go. Just in that wee bit there. Spring. Yeah, I like that. That's good. We've got the kind of grunge down this side here that just wasn't taken with the Just dry the back of it again. I want a G, so let's get a G. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on here. Originally I was going to use the shadow again, but I'm now wondering whether to use the Scotch Timber and make it a more definite thing. So if I was to stamp that, oh, that's upside down. Well, that's a good job I did a wee test stamp, wasn't it? If I was to do the test stamp. Yeah, because actually it's still quite pale in the scheme of things. I think if I was to do it as pale as this, it might be. Shall we? Because actually I've had a thought. We could do egg, embroidery. Or do we want to do the pale? Do we want to do it pale like that again? Because I was wondering about, but I think actually, no, I don't think I do want to do this. I think I want to go back to the lost shadow. Yeah, see, I think I prefer that, because it is then just a hint. You can see it because you know it's there. I've done it in the wrong place. I really wanted, I can hide it. Put it over a bit further, Kirsten. You can hide that with that. And then it's there. But it's there as a shadow. And what I'm also going to do, I think, is I'm going to, I must say, I do thank you, Jodi Lewis, for making that comment on that other video, because I might not have actually gone and got the lost shadow out to do this. I might have ended up doing it on something more in your face, and that actually wouldn't have worked too. Just so yeah, there's something there, though you don't really see it, but you're aware that there's something there. It's not it's subtle but definite at the same time. Do I want to do anything else? I do feel it looks, in lots of ways, it looks very plain and incomplete. I'm wondering if I want some more. Is it because I want the leaves? Is that what it's saying to me? Is it saying the leaves? But I think if I start putting leaves this side, then this side is then going to demand something as well. I wonder if all I need to do is just sew round it. I think that might be all it needs. Because I've got, do I want to sew around it? Will that take away from the fact we've got the embroidery there? I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to sew around it. I'm going to draw around it as if I've got a sewing line. If I can find my grey pen. There's my light grey pen. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do at one point, maybe here, a bit of, you know, like I've done forward and back, like you do when you sew, you go forward and back to make sure it doesn't come undone. So that's where I've done the forward and back. It'd be lovely if there was a couple of wee threads hanging out there as well, wouldn't it? Have I got any? I don't think I've got any grey thread. Right, we need to stick this on, I am kind of happier with this now. It's got that, it just kind of gives it a wee bit definition. I really don't want to start adding leaves because it's then going to spoil the balance. I'm going to use 3-in-1 to stick this on here because I like something that is a silicone based, so it will bond better between the paper and the clay. The art glitter glue will be hit and miss as to whether it bonds or sits on top, but you need something that's going to kind of soak in and bond the clay to the paper. Oh, I should have filled in the other side first. Never mind, let's do it now. Oh yes, because I've got that there as well now, haven't I? Let's do it anyway. So we have A, B, C, J, L, C, prompt, E, and it was 8. Emboss, and that 8's gone down, that's embossing. Embroidery thread and bonus egg. And let's date it. Today's date is the 3rd of May. March even. May. What are you talking about, you silly women? I'll put this date on this side here. There we go. Well, I think I've well and truly covered the embossing. The embroidery flesh is covered. The 8's covered. You can just see that 8, and you can see the 8 here, and you can just see that giga for the E for egg. Thank you so much for watching. You take care. We'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Keep crafting.